Yeah, well, hello. My name is Terrence. I'll be your guest commentator today in this brief little presentation. Apologize for the close. They said dress informally, and I heard dress formally. I'm going to be off stage most of this video, so I just want to say hello, let you know who's talking to you, and I'll move on off now and start on this. My name is Terrence. Heidi. And I'm a Christian researcher, student. I work with Saint.com. If you want to know how to become a Christian, it's at saint.com-save1.html. That's probably the most important thing going on today. Wanted to talk to you briefly about dinosaurs, really, but I want to mention also about evolution, because a lot of times what science has been telling us, evolution or whatnot, is posed challenges to our faith as Christians, and I want to deal with that. One of the little topics that we cover at Saint.com is dinosaurs in terms of sightings of them, and then dinosaurs in art and literature. Atheism has become more and more radicalized, as here's famous atheist Richard Dawkins wrote a recent book. I guess it's a bestseller called The God Delusion, but it's not enough for them just to not believe in God. That's their God-given right, as a matter of fact, and their American citizenship rights, but they're reaching out. They want you to believe as they do. It's not enough for them to believe their way. They need you to believe that way, and they are really radically fighting, and especially against Christianity. And you see people like Richard Dawkins soon probably at your door pushing their religion. It's very much a religion with its own temples, the universities, and its own doctrines, evolution, and its own high priest, PhDs. So they'll be probably knocking at your door soon with some nice brochures. Look for them, but be prepared also. As far as dinosaurs, that's one challenge to our faith that scientists try to pose. They try to assert that these animals lived expired. They went extinct 40 million years before man evolved. And if you're a Christian, that's demonstrably not true. Some Christians have sort of started modifying their faith and their beliefs, and they stopped believing the Bible. In Genesis, in the very first chapter of the Bible, they have problems. And that's an issue. Now, if you are, this question's been asked, why aren't dinosaurs in the Bible if God created them? And I would dare say there's no animal, and I repeat, there's no animal, there's no creature described more thoroughly in the Bible than is the dinosaur in Job 40 and 41. So go there and find out about where it talks about dinosaurs. And there's elsewhere in the Bible as well. They're called dragons and serpents. This particular piece here is from a small section of a very large mosaic, Greek-Roman mosaic called the Palestrina mosaic or the Nile mosaic, and it shows some black-skinned warriors here hunting an animal which could only be described as a dinosaur. And the legend above it on the piece says, you got to read it, Crocodile leopardus. And please forgive me for my Latin there. Hello. Which literally means crocodile leopard. So we're talking about a creature that's no doubt reptilian and fast like a leopard, or dangerous like a leopard. But we're not going to talk about those. We're going to move on. We're going to specifically talk about sauropod dinosaurs today, and there's a reason for that. And there's 4 types that have been identified: the Elephas, that's in China, Camosaurus, Brachiosaurus, and Diplodocus. And moving forward, one thing about Diplodocus that Wiki mentions is that it's among the most easily identifiable dinosaurs, classic dinosaurs, shaped, long neck, long tail, 4 sturdy legs. According to science, Diplodocus lived 145 million years ago and got up to 135 feet from head to tail, or maybe even longer. But I wanted to look at this one here. See that? I mean, that's a childlike drawing of a Diplodocus or sauropod, and it's still recognizable as a sauropod. Keep that in mind. Here we have, from the Western Zhao, up to 1,000 years before Christ, a representation of what would a long-necked creature, similar in skull shape to some of the sauropods we have here, and a very similar one there below here in the black box here from the Shang Dynasty. It's probably not large enough for you to see, but this head is very close to this. They're about 1,000 years apart in China. This is an ancient Thai object. It's an incense burner. I saw this particular one in a book called The Arts of Asia. Note the similarity, say, to this creature here, this particular sauropod, Brachiosaurus. Notice the head similarities there. It's these birds on its back. This is a large creature, and as we said, very recognizable. They're sauropods. This is another sauropod dinosaur representation, if you ask me. It's called the dragon here. It's from Vietnam. It's from the Dongson culture, 3rd century AD. Also very close in shape to this creature here, the Brachiosaurus. This is probably harder to see on the video screen. These are long-necked, long-tailed, body very similar to what you'd say is a sauropod. If you can see this one's the upright version of that. You can see that it's a very sauropod-like, long-neck dinosaur from 3rd century BC, the Zhou period. This is a much later period. This is from a period just before they coined the term, Sir Richard Owen coined the term dinosaur, by the way he was a Christian. And if you notice the Brachiosaurus head shape here, and you can see, remember the skull kind of goes on like this. You can see some similarities. It's obviously meant to be a long-necked creature. And again, you might disagree with some or all of our identifications. It's cryptoarchaeology here. It's not easy from, say, one picture from one aspect to always identify these creatures, but we went looking for them, and we think we found them. You have to make up your own mind. This is Chinese. It's from the tomb of Marcus Shi. It's a bronze instrument support, 2,500 years old approximately, made of bronze, I said. Very clearly a sauropod depiction. You want to look here. Here's the head, a little bit obscured by the support. It's again an instrument support. Very interesting piece. This came from the 13th century, so 1,300 years before Christ. We'll look at this, have an opportunity to look at this again, but again, the body, the long neck, and the tail, even though it's a bit stylized. This is the piece we really want to talk about today. The focus on to some extent. This is from Mesopotamia. It's a cylinder sill. You take this, you roll it out on clay and create these shapes. It's got a very clearly defined sauropod-like body, a long neck, and what's been said in defense of that for people who can't accept it as a dinosaur is that this is probably the head of a lion or a panther. So therefore, no matter how much up to here it looks like a sauropod, it is just a mythological animal. Here's a closer view of the impressions made by the cylinder sill compared with a modern sauropod representation. And the bodies are quite similar, even though this body's more muscular. This is the skull of the Diplodocus longus, and I want to pay attention to this little circle here, this elliptical portion, and this rounded triangle portion right here, because that's going to come into play. If you move forward. Moving forward, here's again the same. Here's the two skulls of the Diplodocus longus. One of them turned, one open, one closed. You have the elliptical portion and the triangular round portion here. Same thing here. This because this is tilted up a bit. Appears as more of a slash, but here's your triangular rounded triangle, and here's your slash or slit. Let's go forward. This is a blown up version, maybe a bit fuzzy, of the Mesopotamian creature on the cylinder sill. And you'll note that we've got the same elliptical portion and the rounded triangle. The elliptical portion and the rounded triangle. And you see the slit, this one's tilted up, see the slit here, match that with the slit here, and the rounded triangle, Very interesting. So what you have here, let me go back. What you have here is very curious. You have what looks like a sauropod dinosaur and some question about the head, but upon closer inspection, the skulls here and the heads here match up very closely. This one has a beard and it's fleshed out nose, sure, but this portion here and this portion here helps us identify. And it's curious again that these skulls happen to match what would be the body of a sauropod, and so the heads and bodies match the sauropod dinosaur, specifically the Diplodocus longus. You can go to saint.com/dinolit, I believe it's page 40, dinolit40.html, and see these up close for yourself, these comparisons. Also, the Mesopotamian dinosaur is on saint.com/dinolit2.html, and it has some other links to blow-ups of those comparisons.